Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the biology and psychology behind what is often a really stressful milestone, starting daycare or preschool. Listen, if you're a parent or caregiver who's been dreading those mornings, or if you're sitting there wondering why your previously easygoing toddler is suddenly clinging to your leg for dear life, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to look closely at the actual science of separation, and I'm going to give you a totally evidence-based roadmap to help you navigate this incredibly common challenge.
So, is your kid's drop-off ending in tears pretty much every morning? Why in the world are these transitions so incredibly hard? First off, if you're feeling overwhelmed with guilt during those morning drop-offs, please know you are absolutely not alone. Understanding the root cause here is really the very first step to making it better. It is so easy to internalize those tears and think, man, I'm doing something wrong, or maybe this daycare just isn't a good fit. But to truly help our kids, we need to completely strip away that parent guilt and look under the hood at what's actually happening in their developing brains and bodies. And that brings us to Section 1, Understanding the Normal Separation Response. This is a fundamental concept in child development that will completely reframe how you see those morning meltdowns. Here is the biggest takeaway. Separation anxiety is a completely developmentally expected phenomenon. It naturally peaks right in toddlerhood, and it reliably flares up during major life transitions. So, the absolute most crucial point here is that this distress is entirely normal. It's expected. It is not a sign that something is terribly wrong with your child, and it doesn't mean the daycare is bad. It's definitely not a disorder. Actually, reacting to the sudden absence of a primary caregiver is quite literally an evolutionary survival mechanism. Your child is fundamentally biologically wired to want to stay close to you.
Because it's a totally normal developmental milestone, our mindset as adults needs a bit of a shift. We really need to focus on easing the transition, not eliminating the feeling entirely. Our goal here isn't to just magically erase their completely valid feelings, but to gently, safely support them through a major life transition. Think about it. If we go into drop-off expecting 0 tears, we are setting everybody up for failure. Those tears, that's just communication. We just need to give them the tools to process those big feelings safely.
Moving right along to Section 2, Why Those First Weeks Are Just So Hard. Let's break down exactly why those initial adjustment periods are so intensely draining on both you and your little one.
There is a massive, very real biological shift happening inside your child's body when they walk into a new environment. At home, you are their anchor, their secure base. But when we take you away and place them in a totally new setting with unfamiliar adults, their physiological stress markers naturally spike. Basically, their brain realizes they are suddenly in an environment where their primary source of safety has vanished.
This is brilliantly illustrated on a chemical level in a really foundational 2004 study published in Child Development by Honored and colleagues. They found that physiological stress markers, like cortisol, which is just our body's stress hormone, typically rise during the adjustment period. But here's the good news. They settle as soon as a secure relationship with a key caregiver forms. Your child isn't just being stubborn or difficult. They are having a highly predictable biological response that will absolutely settle down once they bond with a key worker at the daycare. That elevated cortisol is temporary. It drops the moment a new secure relationship takes root.
So, knowing that this is a biological response, rooted in the need to build a new secure base, how do we actively help that process along? Let's get into Section 3, Strategies to Ease Transitions. All right, let's build your evidence-based toolkit to help lower those cortisol levels. Step 1 is trying a gradual settling in period with short first visits, if your work schedule and the facility allow for it. Try not to jump straight into an 8-hour day right off the bat. Step 2, practice brief separations at home. Let them get used to you being in another room for a few minutes while they play. And Step 3, build a rock-solid, predictable, I always come back routine. By slowly introducing the new setting and practicing the whole concept of you returning, you are actively wiring their brain to feel safe. Building on that, here are 3 highly effective tactics to fold into your morning routine. First, ensure there is a consistent key worker at the daycare who is there to greet your child every single morning. Remember that study we just talked about? That specific key worker is the person who will bring those cortisol levels down. Next, provide a transitional object. Having a familiar comfort toy from home, or even just a laminated family photo, creates a really nice bridge of comfort between your house and the classroom. Finally, you absolutely need a short, warm, and consistent goodbye ritual, like a special handshake, one quick hug, and a predictable phrase you say every time.
Now, while it's fantastic to know what you should do, it's equally crucial to know what not to do, which brings us to Section 4, the big drop-off mistake.
We really need to talk about this because parents do it all the time with the absolute best of intentions, but it actually makes the situation so much worse. Sneaking away when they aren't looking, or having a really drawn-out, anxious goodbye, that actually raises your child's alarm bells and vigilance. On the flip side, a calm, confident, and brief goodbye clearly signals safety directly to your child's nervous system.
I cannot emphasize this enough. Sneaking out raises vigilance. You must stick to the short, warm goodbye. Never, ever sneak out. I know it feels like a great quick fix in the moment to just slip out the door while they're happily distracted by some blocks. But think about it from their perspective. When they turn around and realize their secure base has just vanished into thin air, their cortisol absolutely skyrockets. You're breaking that trust. And tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow they won't let you out of their sight for a second.
So we've clearly established that some distress is entirely normal, and we've got a solid toolkit to manage it. But what if things start to feel like they're pushing way beyond just normal toddler tears? Let's look at Section 5, when to actually seek help.
It is really important to know the red flags here. You should definitely seek professional help if the distress is incredibly severe or if it's persisting for many, many weeks, well beyond that normal settling-in period. Also, be on the lookout if the distress includes sheer panic or somatic physical symptoms, things like throwing up, hyperventilating, or shaking. If you're seeing that kind of severe physical panic persisting for weeks, please bypass Dr. Google entirely and reach out directly to your pediatrician and your child care provider. Never try to diagnose this on your own, but always advocate